When I walked in and saw her with another man, my world shattered. My wife, the woman I had built my life with, was cheating on me. My first instinct was pure, white-hot rage. I wanted to scream, to break things, to make them both feel the pain that was tearing me apart. But as I stood there, unseen, a different thought started to form. A cold, calculated plan began to take shape in the ruins of my heart. Revenge is a dish best served cold, they say. I was about to prepare a 7-course meal. The next day I acted as if nothing had happened. I kissed her goodbye as I left for work. The bitter taste of betrayal on my lips. She seemed a little distant, a little nervous, but chalked it up to stress. Little did she know, I had already started my plan. Step 1. Financial disentanglement. I spent my lunch break meeting with a lawyer, meticulously going through our assets. Our house, our savings, our investments, everything we had built together. I learned exactly what was mine, what was hers, and what was shared. Knowledge is power, and I was arming myself for the battle ahead. Over the next few weeks, I became the perfect husband, brought her flowers, cooked her favorite meals, and listened to her talk about her day, all while smiling a smile that never reached my eyes. I was gathering evidence. I set up a discreet camera in our living room, just as my lawyer advised. It wasn't about spying, it was about protecting myself. The footage I captured was heartbreaking, but it was also the ammunition I needed. Each secret meeting she had, each lie she told me, was another nail in the coffin of her deception. Meanwhile, I started quietly moving my personal assets. I opened a new bank account, transferred my inheritance, and secured my own financial future. It felt sneaky, but I reminded myself that I was just protecting what was rightfully mine from someone who had no regard for our vows or our shared life. Also started documenting everything. Every text message, every credit card statement that showed a hotel stay she couldn't explain, every flimsy excuse she gave for being late. I compiled it all into a neat, undeniable file. The hardest part was keeping up the act. There were nights I'd lie awake next to her, my mind racing, replaying the scene of her betrayal over and over. I had to channel that anger, that hurt, into fuel for my plan. I started therapy to help me process the grief and rage in a healthy way. My therapist helped me see that this wasn't just about revenge. It was about taking back control of my life, about refusing to be a victim. It was about building a future for myself, a future where I was respected and valued. Then came the most delicate part of my plan. Her birthday was coming up and she was expecting a big, lavish party, just like we had every year. She dropped hints about a designer bag she wanted, a weekend getaway. I played along, letting her believe she was getting everything she desired. I booked a fancy restaurant for a surprise party, invited all our friends and family, and told her to dress her best. The anticipation in her eyes was almost sickening. She thought it was a celebration of her. It was, but not in the way she imagined. The night of the party arrived. She looked stunning in a new dress, beaming as we walked into the restaurant. Everyone yelled surprise, and for a moment, it looked like a perfect celebration. We sat at the head of the table, surrounded by the people we loved. I stood up to make a toast. I raised my glass and started talking about our years together, about love, trust, and commitment. I could see her preening, soaking in the attention. Then my tone shifted. I looked directly at her and said, "But it seems my definition of commitment is a little different from yours." I pulled out a small envelope from my jacket pocket. It wasn't a gift. It was a copy of a photo of her and the other man taken just last week. I placed it on the table in front of her. The room went silent. Her smile vanished, replaced by a look of pure horror. But I wasn't done. I turned to our friends and family and calmly explained that I had filed for divorce that morning. I told them that I had irrefutable proof of her infidelity, which I wouldn't be sharing out of respect for the good memories we once had. Then I looked at her lover, who was also at the party, a friend of the family, and I smiled. "I believe you two have a lot to talk about," I said. Then I revealed my final move. The house we lived in, which my parents had helped us buy, was legally in my name. I had already initiated the eviction process. The car she drove was also mine. Her credit cards, linked to my primary account, had been canceled that afternoon. In one evening, I had taken back my life. She was left with nothing but the mess she had created. I walked out of that restaurant, leaving the chaos behind me. I didn't look back. The drive home was the quietest, most peaceful drive I'd had in months. It wasn't a feeling of victory, not really. It was a feeling of release. The heavy weight of her betrayal was finally lifted. Some might say what I did was cruel. But she had shattered my trust and disrespected our marriage in the most profound way possible. My revenge wasn't about hurting her. It was about justice for myself. It was about ensuring that I could walk away, not as a broken man, but as someone who stood up for himself. The days that followed weren't easy, but they were the first days of my new life. A life built on honesty, self-respect, and the promise of a future where I would never again settle for less than I deserve. My story isn't just about revenge, it's about rebirth. And that is the sweetest victory of all. Thanks for listening. If you've been through something similar, know that you're not alone and you have the strength to rebuild. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.